to Chattin' Out Loud. I am your host, Jess Chattin, and today we have Crystal Rivas as a guest. She just started her journey with breast cancer, and I wanted to interview her. Crystal has been a lifelong friend since high school, and I wanted to interview her with it being Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And so, welcome, Crystal.
Hello.
How are you?
Fantastic. Living the dream, napping every few hours. Doing good.
So Crystal and I have been friends since we were in marching band back in the good old high school days. And we, over the years, we have just learned a lot from each other. And as we have grown, we have learned a lot and we were able to really resonate with one another. And so Crystal has just always been that friend. And so I have been blessed by her friendship. And so I hope that I can return the favor to you somehow.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Let me tell you, this whole thing over the last few months has made me even more emotional. So just don't try not to make me cry. It might not be the easiest thing to do, but yeah, no,
Well, if you cry, I will cry.
Good. Just might be a snot fest over here. Yeah, no, it is crazy. I think about it a lot. Well, I don't know, just randomly things will pop up and I'll be like, "Oh my God, we've known each other for how many years, you know?" I remember when freaking Chelsea was just born, right? And do you remember when I came over? You were knee deep in diapers and like two babies. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I will never be here. I'm never gonna have children. I will live vicariously through you because this is not for me. Both.
I'm like baby on the hip, like
Yes.
falling.
Oh, it was
Like here, just take one of
hold
the
the
babies
baby.
with you.
And here they are. Yours are almost grown up and like, fast forward what freaking 15 years and yeah, so much has changed, but it's crazy.
It's chaotic. Like I I just didn't realize how fast it goes.
Yeah, it really does. And I think each child, it goes faster, like those first couple years are just drag by, but each kid that you have goes faster. And then all of a sudden, you've got a teenager and a couple other ones that are hanging around, and you're like, wait a second, where did that go? Um, yeah.
Now, our girls are in that driving age right now. And so probably within the next 6 months to a year, we're probably gonna be looking for a vehicle for them. And something that popped in my brain just now is remember that one time I gave you a ride?
Yes, and I thought we were going to die. Your freaking car. I was like, "What? How are you how are you living today? Because your car sounds like it's going to fall apart on 460 on the way to what was it? We were going to swim practice, I think. And it was just like
We were going.
I'm like, "Oh my God, we are serious." I'm like death gripping the door jamb. Um and you're just sitting in the driver's seat laughing away like, "No, no, this is normal."
You're like, wait, isn't this? I'm like, isn't this normal? Like,
I'm like,
don't
"No,
know.
every light on your dashboard is on, and that is not normal."
You're like, never riding with Jessica Prince again, ever.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was crazy.
Oh, fun times.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we will make sure that our kids have good cars.
Man, you know what? Listen, it gave us character.
It did.
Maybe we should give him a little beater, give him a little bit of character. Make
I
them
think I should go get him a Geo or something.
right. I know. Hmm.
So, all right, so you have a story to share, and I know that you want to help women with your journey. So, I have some questions for you about your journey and your diagnosis. So, can you share a little bit about when you first learned of your diagnosis and what were those days like?
Yeah. Yeah. So, in July, so here's like the my daily type routine, right? I get up, I get the kids out ready to go for school, whatever. Um, and I'll log into work, start working a little bit. I'll head to the gym and come home. I shower, do the things. I work from home. Then I go into school and I support the extended day service there for a couple hours a day. I started doing that last year, kind of just to get me out of the house. Because I'd been working from home for about 5 years, and realizing that I really wasn't leaving the house. So, summertime hits, and I'd go to the gym, and I didn't have to leave again, so I wouldn't. I was just in my gym clothes. And I personally, I have large ladies, and I wear a very tight sports bra to the gym. I don't like any movement. Like they need to be sucked into my body, and that that is what it is. So in July, I noticed some physical changes on my left breast. And, you know, as women, we're constantly told, make sure you look for changes, make sure you know what your body looks like, and this and that. And the changes aren't really talked about, right? So my change that I noticed was a nipple inversion. So if you think about how a nipple reacts in cold weather, cold water, whatever, lights go on, right? Nipple
Yes.
inversion is like literally the opposite. It's like sucked in. And when I noticed this, I was like, wait a second, this is not normal. But I had been in my sports bra, very, very tight sports bra for several hours at a time. And I thought, okay, well maybe I maybe I just was in that for too long and I won't do that again. So a couple days go by and I realized it had not changed. Like it was just kind of like whatever. Wasn't paying attention to it. I wasn't like looking down at it every 5 seconds. Hey, you're gonna come back out, not like that. I just went about my life business. And so a few days later, I
Because
realized
how that doesn't happen.
no, no. And I mean, I don't know about you, but I know for me, especially as a mom, um, listen, I take a shower, I get in the shower, I do my business, I get out of the shower, I dry off, I put my clothes on. I'm not like inspecting my body in that
Right.
manner. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it was a few days later, I realized we were still in the same position. And I was like, okay, that's odd. And then at the same token, I noticed an indentation on my left breast on the inside. Um, And again, I thought to myself, I use a front clasp bra from time to time. And I thought to myself, okay, well, maybe she was just leaning over on that front clasp a little bit too much, like, okay. Um, so again, there was no pain. I did, I felt around. I was like, do I feel any lumps? Do I feel anything out of normal? Does something hurt other than this, these visual appearance type situations? No, nothing hurt. Didn't feel any lumps. So I went about my business. So fast forward, and that was in July. Fast forward to my birthday, literally my birthday, Sunday, August 10th. We were getting ready to go somewhere and I changed. I was changing and I noticed the indentation bigger. And at this point I didn't have a bra on. So I was like, wait a second.
on the
on the
nipple?
inside. No, not the nipple, on the inside, like it was like right here. And so I asked my husband, I was like, well, maybe if he sees it, then there's a problem, or maybe it's just me. So I asked him, and he's like, yeah, I see that. Do you feel a lump? And I said, well, no, but I have noticed a couple things. And, I showed him, and he was like, yeah, this is not normal. um, and so, it made me feel around deeper. And I finally found a tiny little, like, it felt like a frozen pea, tiny, tiny little lump.
Mhm.
And so, again, that's on Sunday. I call my primary on Monday, and she gets me into the office by Wednesday. And I explained to her, and obviously she did an exam as well. And she was like, yeah, I just don't like the way these things look. It could be nothing. Considering you're 40, you just turned 40, let's go ahead and get you into imaging. And worst case scenario, we have to move along this process. Best case scenario, it's a nothing, and we've just done your first round of imaging. And there you have it. So by the next week, I go in for imaging, and it was diagnostic. So there is a difference between diagnostic and screening. If you are under the age of 40 and your doctor feels as if you need to have imaging done, they'll do a diagnostic request, and that should be covered by your insurance. And then, screening is what you typically go to every year, or whatever the case may be, whatever type of screening it is. For mammogram, it's every year. And anyway, so I go in, I do the imaging. They did both sides. They did left and right for a mammogram, and a sonogram. So these are all things that I had never done before. I was terrified. Again, I wear a double D bra, cup size. And I'm thinking, how in the world are y'all going to squish my boob to, paper thin? It really wasn't painful for others that have never done it. It's not painful. It was more scary than it was anything, but it didn't hurt. It was a little uncomfortable just because of, like, I don't know, the positioning that you have to use and things of that nature. The sonogram wasn't bad. That's exactly like you would think. It's the wand, just like you have when you're doing imaging for a baby.
Mhm.
So after imaging, it probably took about a week to get the written results back. And when I was in the sonogram room, I remember the technician left the room for a little bit of time. And here, by the way, FYI, most women don't know this either. You don't get to have your person back with you. You are by yourself in that room, which I thought was stupid. Here I am in a room by myself with all the pictures of my breast tissue, with my device, my smart device here, left to my own time, and I'm
You're
just
like
Googling
freaking
away.
out.
I was freaking out. I was like,
You're like,
why,
here's the
first off,
picture.
why would you
What
ever
is
leave? Yes, why would you ever leave a woman in a room with her own devices, with all the pictures up? We are going to Google all the things. So yeah, I was starting to sweat bullets a little bit. And so the technician comes back in, and she's like, so we are going to schedule you for a biopsy because we see some things. And I was like, yes, I'm aware you see some things because you left me in here and I see the things too. Like, what can you give me any other information? And of course, no, they can't. But I'll
No,
never forget it. She was like,
I just want to interrupt you for a second. Like, I'm laughing because I know you, and like we just have such a great relationship, and so like you sitting in there in this room, and like
you could
you
see it,
probably
right?
have like, yeah, like you're just
You're in
like
you're in a gown.
WTF. Like,
Yes. You're sitting there in a gown with your boobs out everywhere, and you're like, I mean, and with the sonogram slime everywhere, right? And they like they throw you a towel. Here you go, wipe up. But not, I'm I shouldn't say that. The nurses, like the technicians and the nurses, were all very nice. They were not rude at all. But I do think it's a little bit. I think it's kind of ass backwards, to be honest. You can't put women in a room by themselves without their person to keep them sane, because it's scary. It really is, especially when you're smart enough to like put two and two together, you know? Um,
I remember I remember quickly when we first found out that Chelsea was a miscarriage. I was by myself, and the nurse technician left the room,
mhm.
and then she came back, and it was like panic, and like and when you're by yourself, like for some reason or whether Chris wasn't able to be there, else he would be. But you're in a panic mode, and just being by yourself is just so overwhelming.
It is overwhelming. Yeah. And like to be the type of person where you're like, just freaking tell me. Just give me the information so I can compress and like, or decompress or put it all in my head, jump. I don't know. Just don't let me sit here and question. Just tell me the things. Um, so yeah, she came back in and she's like, well, we do see here that one of the lymph nodes is a bit chunky. And I'm like, well, the rest of me is chunky too. So what does that tell me, ma'am? um,
Like, what are you trying to get
right. What is it? Just tell me what the words are. Um, no, I didn't say that, but she was like, you know, she didn't say it, but she said it. She's like, you've got to come back for biopsies. So the written results came back from the imaging within about a week. And, based on that verbal conversation and then seeing the written um, results, we knew what we were dealing with. It was 95% confident that there was malignancy is the statement in the written result. So we had a pretty good idea. But we still had to wait 3 weeks for the biopsy to be done. So at that point, we sat on it for a little bit of time, and as like our family, we're open. We don't we don't hide things, right? The boys knew that I was going to the doctor to check on my boobies. And I mean, we were sitting at dinner one night, and Lincoln was like, "Aren't you going to the doctor to check on your boobies?" And we hadn't really told Allison at that point because, there wasn't really much to tell her. Um, and
Yeah.
so, yeah, we had that conversation right there at the table, eating dinner. Yeah, this is what's happening. Anyway, um, so the biopsy comes, and between those 3 weeks of imaging and biopsy, the visual or the physical changes started to become more. So the skin on my breast started getting thicker, and they call it like orange peel skin. And it very much is like that. If you think of an orange, a navel orange, and the thickness and the texture of the peel, your breast will start to feel like that, very thick and kind of, I don't know, that texture. Um,
Yeah.
the dent started getting bigger. Like there was a little bit of discoloration. So yeah, just in 3 weeks time, it was moving, and you could tell it was something was going on there, which was scary. And it didn't hurt, but it was still scary. Um, so I go in for biopsies. All of the areas that they checked, they took, I think, 4 biopsies of 4 different masses, and then a biopsy of the lymph node, and all of them came back as positive. When you get the pathology back from the biopsies, they tell you what is feeding the cancer, which is nice because you kind of get an idea of where to go from there. Your team will get an idea of where to go from there. They're checking for hormones. So there are several different types of cancers. I didn't know that either. We hear commonly about like triple negative or triple positive. And what that is they're testing for hormone. Um, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of what feeds the cancer, right? And so if it's triple negative, it's not progesterone, it's not estrogen, and it's not the HR2. I think it's a hormone. I'm not 100% sure, but um,
Yeah.
it's none of those that feed the cancer, which as a triple negative, your oncology team is going to have to find a different path, because if they know what's feeding it, they know how to attack it. So mine is progesterone and estrogen fed, and then HR2 negative. So it's a common, quote unquote, which is good because oncology teams know how to treat that and hopefully treat it well. Um, but it's really dependent on how your body reacts to the treatment. So long term, what will happen? So I've got 16 rounds of chemo. I've done 2. The first 4 are biweekly, so every other week I'm going for 8 weeks, and that is a combo chemo treatment. So it's 2 chemos in one, and then the 12 after that will be every week. And then at the very least will be the left side mastectomy, but I'm going to ask for both. Luckily, all the scans and things that were done prior to treatment only show it on the left side. It hasn't spread anywhere else. So once you get the diagnosis right, they're going to put you through a ton of pre-treatment testing. They want to look at your bone density, because if it is hormone fed, you'll be on hormone blockers essentially. And as women, our hormones don't just allow us to procreate, right, and make children. The estrogen plays a huge role in your bone health and your heart health. So they do look at both of those. They look at your heart health, they look at your bone health. Like, what are the things that we have to do to make sure that your body maintains healthy while fighting? So yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, anyway, back to the chemo. 16 rounds of that. Mastectomy on the left side at the least. I will be asking for both. I just met with the radiation oncologist today, and it looks like it's all dependent on what the pathology comes back once we remove the breast. But there's a high potential looking at 6 weeks of radiation, and that's every single day. And then, um, I've kind of tossed back and forth, reconstruction. Originally, for years, I've always said, if I ended up being diagnosed with breast cancer, just take the boobs off. I don't care. Take them off. I don't need them. But when you're actually faced with it, right? Like when you're faced with the idea of like, oh, wait, what does that mean? And you look at it and truly look at what it means to remove your breast and end up with a flat chest, surgically flat chest.
Hmm.
It's a little harder to stomach that. So I don't know. I'm still on the fence. I think I'm definitely going to consider at least talking about reconstruction. Reconstruction today is much different than what it was even 10 years ago. They can do a lot of really cool stuff. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, we're looking at like easy a year down the road, because chemo doesn't stop until February. And then you've got to wait. You have to wait a few weeks to kind of recoup from chemo before surgery. And then they want to do the mastectomy before the radiation, but they want to do radiation before reconstruction. So, at best, if my body responds well to all the things, I'm looking at a year of constant, just doctor, surgery, something.
Yeah. Well, just to kind of like, add some sprinkle, like being flat chested is okay. I've dealt with that my whole life.
I mean, yes. Yes. I actually, listen, I do not enjoy large boobs. I am happy to have said reduction in size. But it, and like jokes aside, because I always thought that, right? I would just be like, take them off. Mm, when you have to face the decision, you say, okay, what does that look like? And you do your research, and it's not that it looks bad, but I can fully understand kind of the mind, like it screws with your mind. It will 100% because your nipples are gone. Once you have them, I mean, it's even if there's reconstruction, right? It's just skin. But
Yeah.
they can do really cool things now. Like I don't again, I don't know. I haven't had these conversations, but just based on what I have read up on, you can do all sorts of things like that, like depending on your cancer, nipple conservation. That
Okay.
is not an option for me. But they can also build a nipple. If you don't go that route, you can do a 3D tattoo of a nipple, and it looks, I mean, it's beautiful work. So yeah, it is really kind of cool. How far we've come from a reconstruction perspective, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the AI and technology is just crazy these days. So I'm glad to I'll be watching to see like the route that you go and that process. Something that something that really struck me about you is you are a very private person and very private. And like you probably unfollowed me at some point because I posted way too much on social media. And you're
I
like,
will.
I can't do that. Like that's too much.
I don't know. I think it's the algorithms. I don't really pay attention to that kind of stuff.
um but you were so brave. Like you made this long post about your journey and about starting your journey, and when I first saw that post, I started crying, not because of the journey that you're on, but because you were vulnerable enough to share your story. And that was a huge thing for you. So can you talk about like, what that was like and why you decided to go public with your story and share that, cuz that is a pretty cool thing for you to step outside your comfort zone.
Mainly because I don't feel like it's talked about enough. Um,
Mhm.
I, I am 40. We just turned 40
Just
collectively. Like, um, and I just don't think it's talked enough about. Like, it's happening to women our age. It's happening to women younger than us. You think about breast cancer and you're like, oh, grandma's, over here doing whatever, whatever. No, that's not the case. It is happening to our age women. And um it sucks because we have my biggest worry will always be like that 5 year mark, that 10-year mark. Dude, my youngest is 6. He's going to be 7 in December. Do the math on that. It's not that much time. And like that terrifies me. But at the same token, there are other people that are going through this at the same age I am, in the same space that I am. It's okay to be honest about it. It's okay to walk around with a bald head. It's okay to walk around and say, you know what, this freaking sucks right now, but I'm still going to deal with it. Um, and I do tend to be the type of person that is like, I try to be more on the positive side of things, right? Um, but sometimes, especially now, That's not an option. I'm not positive well, today I am, but there's going to be days where I wake up and I'm like, you know what? I don't feel positive right now. I kind of feel like shit. And I don't want you to tell me to, oh, keep fighting stronger. I posted something like that about, it was yesterday, I think. And gosh, and I know people mean the world. I know it doesn't come from a bad place. But telling someone who is day in and day out fighting to get up and get dressed, fighting to not stay in bed because they're so damn tired, to hear someone say, oh, just fight harder, keep that spirit up, fight. My spirit is up, but damn it, I'm not feeling good today, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think showing people that that's okay is okay. You don't always have to be rainbows and sunshine, but it
Mhm.
doesn't mean that I'm not like fighting to stay alive for my kids.
Yeah.
I guess that's it, is we're still young. We're still moms. We're still like the nucleus of our family, and we still have to fight through the thing. Um, and it's okay to be open and honest about it. I don't have anything to hide.
Yeah. No, it was, I mean, it was beautifully written. Like, and I obviously called you like right after, like, Crystal, what is going
Mhm.
on?
And therefore, it was really hard to actually say the words. Uh, there were a handful of people that I wanted to tell personally. Um,
Mhm.
and I felt that it was necessary to tell them personally. And, so once I did that, it didn't get easier the more I said it. It actually probably got worse. So
Mhm.
once I got through those conversations with the people that I knew I needed to tell, and I kind of owed them that respect. I was like, I
Mhm.
much rather just put it out on blast, and people can see it and they can read it, and I don't have to say the words anymore. That's also
Yeah.
another reason, because there for a while it was really difficult. And I still feel oddly, October, everything's pink. All the pink ribbons are being thrown at people with breast cancer. And
Yeah.
I feel like it's such an imposter. I'm like, no, this is not me. This is not going on. This is not happening. I'm not going through chemo. My
Yeah.
boob isn't trying to kill me,
Yeah.
but it is.
As I'm dressed from head to toe.
Yeah, yeah, it's weird. Like it's so weird. I'm like, no, I don't have a shaved head. Oh, yes, I do. I'm not losing all my hair. Oh, yes, I am. And you really do. Every bit of hair, your leg hair, your armpit hair, your all over hairs, every hairs. You don't have to shave anymore. All over hairs. No more shaving, no more waxing. Yes.
So, like, eyelashes too?
Potentially. Yep. My eyelashes haven't started coming out. My eyebrows haven't started coming out yet, but um yeah, I donated my hair almost immediately because I knew after we met with the oncologist, I knew I was going to have to do chemo um, right away. Oh God, that meeting was terrible. Like I said, we had about 3 weeks to set up for it and get our minds ready of like, yeah, this is what it is. But here I'm thinking, okay, we caught it early, and maybe it's just we'll take it off, and maybe I'll do an oral chemo for a couple months, and it won't be a big deal. We go into that oncologist appointment and she's like, so here's what we're going to do. We need you to do all your pre-treatment stuff next week so we can start you on 16 rounds of chemo the second week. And I was like, what? What do you mean? I wanted surgery. I wanted this thing off. What are you talking about? I have to, oh my God. It was an ugly
So
cry.
it's not like you have to have radio like chemotherapy. You can't just cut it off.
No, that was not my option. Some people do. Some people do have the option to have a lumpectomy, or if they decide to do a mastectomy or whatever, they can do it first. But because I have so many masses in the breast itself, they didn't want to chance cutting in and potentially spreading the cells, whatever. So, and because it's in a positive lymph node, they wanted to start immediately on chemotherapy to help prevent continued progression. Because once it's in a lymph node, it can go anywhere,
Mm, I
which
did
is
not
not
know
good.
that.
Yes, your lymphatic system is essentially your drainage system. So if it's in one, it can go anywhere into your body.
Isn't that crazy how like you know, like you grow up and we grow up and we do things like raise money for breast cancer or, run 5Ks or, do all these things and like we're so ignorant about it. And then as we go through it, we're just like, wow, like I'm using words I didn't even know I could pronounce.
Yeah. Well, funny story. In 2011, I ran the Donna breast cancer marathon, the full marathon, 26 miles. Yeah.
Cute.
And it was
Wait,
only yeah, and that is one of, that's the biggest breast cancer run that they have, right? And it was only because I wanted to prove to myself that I could. I didn't choose it because of breast cancer. I honestly, I had nobody that I could even dedicate the run to. It was just that, like, I wanted to prove to myself that I could do a full marathon, and I did. And I'm like, holy mother, go
yeah.
figure. Mm,
I run to the refrigerator and I get exhausted. Like you did a freaking
yeah,
full marathon.
yeah,
So proud of you. Proud of you.
yeah.
Um, so how did so I know we talked a little bit about this, but how were there moments when you felt misunderstood or even as you were surrounded by like your support team or your system or like talk about your mental health like once you kind of processed everything like
Yeah, so like, after the written results, again, we kind of knew. I kind of had a gut feeling anyway before we even got the written results. Well, probably because I was in a room by myself with my phone and I could Google all the things. So, um, I honestly thought I was like, okay, it is what it is. I'm in this space, and I've always said, all right, great. If that is my road, then we take it as it comes. We do the things we need to, and I'll get through it. Like it's fine. It is what it is. I'll get through it.
mm-hmm,
Um, but when the path changed because I'm a doctor and I said that my path was going to be take it off and I'll have an oral chemotherapy pill and I'll be good to go. Um, yeah, my path changed to, oh, holy shit, no, this is for real, for real. We're doing the whole thing, the
yeah,
chemo regimen, all of it. Um, that that I was the first time that I really felt like, oh man, I'm kind of scared now because I wasn't really scared before. I was like, it's fine, we'll get through it. But then all the what ifs come in. Like, what if my body doesn't respond to these treatments? What if I'm years and years down the road on chemo because my body's not responding and this and that and it just keeps going. And so that I didn't really expect because I thought I was in a good mental space. I just
mm-hmm.
have to stop it. I just have to, when those thoughts come in, I just have to stop them and say, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But today, I know I'm okay. Today, I know my symptoms are manageable. And they are. I mean, the biggest thing is just fatigue, and the level of fatigue is top tier. I think the only thing I can compare it to is like first trimester fatigue. Um, and that's pretty intense, right? Like it's pretty intense. I was not a good pregnant woman all 3 times. So, um,
You're like,
no, I
oh,
wasn't. Yes, it was terrible. The nausea is pretty minimal, it's very manageable. The only thing that I would say that isn't the most manageable is like muscle fatigue. I work out pretty regularly up until the last few months, or the last 2 months essentially. Um, and I feel like I've been in the gym for hours and just like going crazy with heavy weights, and I've done nothing. My muscles hurt that bad. And that's just
yeah,
essentially the medicine, pumping through and sort of ravaging every cell in your body.
yeah. Ugh. So yeah, and thank you for that. How has your perspective on life, and really what truly matters, how has that changed since your diagnosis?
I don't think it has changed at all. What truly matters is my family. Um, like I don't really care what's going on around me, as long as my family is happy and healthy and safe. Yeah, sure, little things will pop up here and there. They always have, where it's just like, ugh, what? That's so not fair, or you look at the news, you look at what's going around in the world, and you're like, why? Why are people so angry about shit that has nothing to do with them? Get back to your nucleus, get back to your cell of your family and focus there, and I guarantee you you'll be much happier. You'll realize what's important. Um yeah, that hasn't changed for me. It probably puts it even more into perspective of how important like being present with your family is.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think, as well as I do, like family, like just that, even that family that you created, like that you work so hard for and, day in and day out. I think both of us have been there. And so, I think that really plays a huge part in, how we move forward and how we go down this journey. So,
Yeah, 100%. So,
um if you could reshape how people view cancer and mental health, what truth would you want them to hear the most?
mm, so kind of what I hit on earlier is like, um, and what I posted about earlier this week was, although I know people mean it in a positive way, like saying fight harder, or pray harder. It, gosh, the statement, it was something to the effect of children and parents, like children wouldn't lose their lives, parents wouldn't lose their children. Uh, Mothers wouldn't die from breast cancer if they fought harder. I'm sorry, they are fighting with every inch of their
Yeah.
body. Um,
Yeah.
those parents are fighting to keep those children alive. These mothers, myself, you're fighting every day, day in, day out, to stay healthy and be there for your kids. It has nothing to do with the fight or the desire to fight. Um, and I think that can really hurt sometimes when you've got someone that's already in a delicate state of like, what could I be doing any better than what I am right now, and nothing is responding. Treatments, my bodies aren't responding to the treatments that are taking place. What's happening? And you're doing everything you can. Sometimes
Mhm.
that is unfortunately going to be the what's taking place, and it has nothing to do with the amount of prayer, has nothing to do with the amount of fight. um Sometimes if you don't know what to say, don't say anything at all. Just be there, be present in the moment with someone, you know and I feel bad for saying that too, because I know for a fact when people say those things, it's not in a malice position at all.
Right.
You know what? It's hard to explain that one.
I think people I think we just get so over I I'm trying to think of the word, like, I not that we get overwhelmed, but I think, like, for me, experience is key. Like, like, I tried to think of what would I think of if I was in that position. Like,
Mhm.
I would have something happen that somebody else was going through, and then I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, like, I can't believe I said this to that person." And then I go back and I'm like, "I am so sorry what I said."
Yeah.
Like, remember I remember a long time ago, one of our peers passed away, and I remember just saying something to the parent, and it was, and I still live with this. Like, I said something, and it wasn't like too awfully bad, but it was bad enough to, as a mom, I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe I said that. And, like, and then I go through an experience where I, lose somebody close to me, and I'm like, oh my God, like, how could I have said that? Like, so I get it. Like, I think experience really helps. And so I think it might show that maybe they haven't been in that situation. And so they don't know what to say,
Yeah.
maybe.
Oh, totally. Well, I mean, you're never who's put in this position on a regular basis, you know?
Yeah.
And so, and that's the thing, like, I don't get mad over it. I'm surely not mad over those comments, but yeah, sometimes you do tend to hear it a lot. Oh, you just got to keep your fight up. You just got to keep your fight up. Well, no shit. I got to keep my fight up. I'm fully aware of this. I wasn't planning on giving up, but thank you for the piece of advice. I appreciate that, you know? Um,
Again, I'm only laughing because I know you.
yeah, well, yeah. I mean, and but it's the truth, you know? Like I wasn't planning on giving up, but thank you for making sure I won't. You know?
Oh
Hi.
my gosh.
So yeah, it doesn't make me mad, but it's also one of those things like, yeah, what else do you say? I don't I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea.
Well, Crystal, this we are at the end of our podcast, and I don't know how the hey we got through this without crying with one another. But I thank you so much for your time and for coming on and sharing your story and your experience, and letting everybody else hear your story too. I certainly appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me.
So, absolutely. Well, thank you again for listening. And I invite everybody to like and share this podcast. And we are out.